Well, I think this is a really great day and a big day. The fact that we've got two Secretaries of State come here to celebrate it with you. I mean, it's a good day for Newton Aycliffe, obviously for Durham, but actually for the country as a whole. A really big step forward in the rail revolution which is taking place in the UK. I mean, I think we historically thought of rail as being something in decline. You know, some of us remember beaching. Cutbacks. I grew up in York, the carriage works closed down, all the negative stuff, but we're now getting a massive investment taking place, and on the back of it, the growth of a major industry. I just want to start by acknowledging the contribution of Hitachi. I went to see Mr. Nakanishi, the president of the company, a couple of years ago in Japan to talk about this project and about Hitachi's investment in the UK. They've now got 3,500 people here. They've now made a major commitment to the nuclear industry and the nuclear supply chain, which again is another industry coming back here, and now to the railway sector. And out of this project we'll have hopefully 700 jobs when the factory's operating. There will be a rail supply chain, and as we've just heard, there will be the building jobs as well. I was particularly pleased to see Shepherd's. It's a company I grew up with in York, and heavily involved in this project and producing local jobs and local supplies. I think the other point I want to stress is the way that this project has developed as a partnership with government. What we've done in government is put in a fairly modest grant alongside the fairly substantial 80 million investment that the company are putting in. And this is the way we operate, as we're all painfully aware in national and local government. There isn't a great deal of money to splash around. But we try to match private investment with a modest pump priming from government. We've done this throughout the North East. There's about 100 regional growth fund projects, for example, 300 million of government money, and it's brought in 2 billion of private sector money, and that's the spirit, that's the way we try to approach things. This is a very good example of it coming to fruition. I think the other big lesson here about how government approaches these things is I see this as very much part of what we call the industrial strategy. Two big ideas, actually, which is business and government working together on a partnership basis, and thinking long term, getting out of this very narrow political cycle, never doing anything more than 5 years at a time, but thinking a generation ahead. And what Patrick and I are doing, sitting down with the rail industry, we brought this very fragmented industry together, thinking about long-term training requirements. Rail academies are now being set up to train the next generation of people in the specialist skills of the industry. And we're beginning to get some really good long-term strategic thinking going on. And I think probably the key to all this in the long term, because these people are going to be here for a generation and more, is HS2, big national project, potentially enormous benefits to the country and particularly the north of England. And it has to be seen through as a big national project going over a generation, not thinking in short-term perspective. And I think we've now broken through. The key legislation went through yesterday. It will happen. And I think we're absolutely 100% behind this. But this is a great project. I'm delighted to be here to celebrate it with you. And my colleague, Patrick McLaughlin, will speak from his perspective as Transport Secretary. Thank you very much.